dressed for a honeymoon, like a mango sculpted to a blossom, impaled. Learn to tango because it's a damn good investment. Be strong as a rubber. For you, every lover will be wrong. Don the hubris of a blonde, cavort like a brunette. Anticipate the Russian in the spin of chat roulette. Accept ennui, le nuit, double Texas Hold'em. Give in absolutely to the carpal tunnel syndrome. Because insomnia isn't just a marketing strategy. Buy the decaffeinated bottle of 5-hour energy. Forget Cyborg, Sibian, Berkeley Horse, and Trojan. Because one curiously clumsy click hurts no one. In every phallic object, the symbol is clear-cut. Hairy hardwood, silicone conifer, leather chestnut. Crave this apotheosis of a plastic prosthesis. Because of the wonderful things it does. Follow the email migration of the chainmail manifesto. Be a PayPal. Pop your Paxil. Spatter melted candle. Train your brain to feel their vendings in a pixel. Stretch your skin on webcam. Be an austere host. Because you are bound by the mouse to the bedpost. It was called the Love Song of J. Acer Travelmate. There's a poem that's about shacking up with someone for the first time, and it's called Everyday Adjustments, the little changes that are made when you get used to living with someone, and also the idea of fate and whether these little signs, what they mean, right? So I got an epigraph from Hamlet. There is special providence in the fall of a sparrow. If it be, 'tis not to come. If it be not to come, it will be now. If it be not now, yet it will come. When a sparrow smacks the window, she takes a vow of silence, and I fast. But neither one of us can say what's made us pious, so we lapse. Buying more organics, we eat another rich raw meal. 5-year-old Gouda, tapenade, blueberry nectar. In this house, we don't sacrifice the Teflon with steel. Our choices cuts are lexical. No one suffers deja vu by passing by an oily sink. Effervescence echoes up a plastic bottle. It's a wonder we fear the world's best water. The fridge drones like a sandstone beach. There's nothing in the microwave but cold, burnt kernels on a plate of Pyrex. We'll eat more. We will always eat more. Forget this serving. Electric heat is borrowed like a fantasy novel or a schedule. It doesn't matter, we argue. Money is imposing as a teddy bear, as a photograph of a dead uncle, an unanswered call from a memorized number. So what if no one comes to fix the fractured pane? We say, good omen. The first poem in the collection, this is my book, Milk Teeth, up at the table. The first poem I got inspired from clicking around old vintage advertisements on YouTube. There's one of the Pepsi Generation, which is a 60s ad, but I thought it was the 80s when I looked for it. That was Generation Next. That was I was Generation X, play. Anyway, the Pepsi Generation was in there. Yeah. Who is the Pepsi Generation? Just about anyone with a young sort of attitude. So they go up on his Vespa up a mountain, and then a helicopter comes and delivers a Pepsi machine on a chain to the top of the mountain. You can find it, it's still on YouTube. It's called Love After the Pepsi Generation Ad. It started with an exposed shoulder, glistening like humid aluminum. A dressing room door held ajar, and a rumor spread like warm syrup. Then, in the first of countless dares, they cherry-bombed the logo at the studio's west entrance. Shotgunned a platter of complimentary sodas. Crashed through a dress rehearsal by Scooter. She held on to him as if they never left that Vespa. Love stayed simple, so long as it was risky. They lived swimming pool to swimming pool with no one on duty. Extras crowded their soundproof booths. Paparazzi swarmed like bubbles in a freshly corked bottle of the stuff that made them sparkle. They threw caution to the Coke machine, but it came out the coin return. The dull orange light reads empty now. The slogan changes, and it changes the tune. They get bad hair days, cut their own tangles. They age, but assume younger faces. When they fudge the line, there is no second take. Some affairs are not settled in the twist of a cap. Here's an old poem I was happy to commit to print because I kept reading it and being like, I finally edited this morning and it's done. And then I'd go home after reading and edit it more for years. But it's a take on, it's autobiographical, but I use the foil of the Greek myth about Pluto and Persephone. That's a Roman name and a Greek name, but you get the. It's called Epistle to Pluto. This morning I poured salt in my coffee and it tasted like honey. The curling iron cast its sleep spell and cremated half my head. I dreamt of us in that motel on Jekyll Island, drunk as autumn wasps. I swore your punches didn't hurt, but I bruised like a fallen pear. We never thought about the condom as a problem. That modeling balloon, that Trojan column of our bedroom, inflated like a surgeon's glove. Someone ate a pomegranate seed. That's love. A sanguine stain, a hint of bitter wood, a bat flying through your voice. I never told you, my mother prayed for our divorce. She blamed you for the loss of every hour on the clock. She was bankrupt by August. All her paltry harvest purchased was an anorexic cell phone, winter lips sewn to touch tone. You proposed the ring that cut her ear off, left her skittish as a feral child. Apologies were not enough. A spring fertile with lies rose quick as ash, erupting from a clumsy urn. There's beauty in everything that breaks. Oh, count no woman fortunate who suffers of my fate. Remember how those china shards stalemated on the kitchen tile? I buried you, I ran, from hell to Mount Olympus. I cannot qualify the distance of my self-defense. Today I'd eat a burning coal to end the absence. This is called Dialectic at the Key Party. And key isn't an adjective. A key party I found, admittedly from this movie called The Ice Storm. And so in the 70s, like late fallout of the 60s sexual revolution, couples would go to a party and they'd throw their car keys in a bowl. And at some point, all the women would pick a set of keys out of the bowl and then go home, have sex with whoever's keys they were.
Wait, so where is this?
It was in a movie called The Ice Storm. Yeah. There's a listserv I'll forward. The poem doesn't, it only has two couples. It wasn't, yeah. A year into marriage, the neighbors suggest we copy keys. Determined, my wife rehearses a reply to the routine proposition, but bungles it, says kiss by accident. And we laugh, but I hear the hiss of a cutting machine in her voice. Wet behind those twice-corrected teeth. Minutes scratch away like mental splitters from a blank. Minutes, and our hard-won vow is open. Now she coils the husband in a boa. Now relishes the chaw of his buffed shape. Now he wets her with champagne, reading from the label. A chemical reaction releases aromata locked inside the grape. He passes me a different bottle and a different lady, citing a delicate palate. I gnaw at the cork with the wine key as my wife winds her way to his bedroom. Augury. Peering through the keyhole, I see they fit together like grooves on a blade on a spring-loaded tumbler. The door locks. The replica is exchanged. Kiss, offers my paramour, like a finger rimming ersatz crystal. My vintage is changed. I force the proposition. The word is key. So I'm from a little town in New Brunswick called St. John. Not to be confused with the Newfoundland one with the possessive apostrophe S. This is a nostalgia poem from high school called Cigarette Kiss 1996. Starts with an epigraph from Steve Martin, a comedian, musician, multi-talented man. Everyone smoked, and after they smoked, they all talked about smoking and how nice it was that they were all smokers, and then they smoked some more. This is a sonnet. The mere distortion of the bell pins me against a concrete wall. I taste cold fingers in my mouth, tobacco, salt, and chlorophyll. Her cheek adds color to my face, a grainy dust she must have loved. A hue that mocks her blushing hand. She's way too cool for woolen gloves. Then pleasuring the sand and snow, she picks out a damp Marlboro and swears the rush will lick my skin. Some headlights sink back into mist. The cherry burns for half an inch. At St. John High, lessons begin. I'd like to read another St. John poem from a good friend of mine, Danny Jacobs, who's a librarian in a smaller town called Petitcodiac, New Brunswick. This is his book, and it's available at the book table. He's a fantastic poet. He's already got a book out with Nightwood Editions, but and his brother does the covers. He's an illustrator who, he's had work in the New Yorker and such. But I felt this is a poem about St. John. Danny's from Moncton, but this was, when I first read this in the Malahat, I felt like it was a poem that I wish I had written. Maybe that's a personal thing, but I hope you'll enjoy it anyhow. It's called a refinery plea. St. John has the second largest oil refinery in the country. There's a huge company called Irving Oil. You might know about a certain pipeline heading to this place. Refinery plea. St. John, we took the wrong ramp to your power center. Misread Google Maps meander. Got post-apocalyptic instead. The back road's a Mad Max backdrop. Skyline of Borg cube, rigging, and arc-light turret. Pipe manifold stories high. Tangled like the limbs of 1,000 sinners in some machinist's diss. Disgorged us from this bitumen palace. Your naphthenic outskirts sneer. Give us signs back to the highway in reflective green before sunset. The flare stack refracts twilight cirrus, the sky swamped with heat and candle flame jumpy. Before I lose it in the U-turning, open a side road, spit us out to the pine-lined highway, industrial fading to commercial, Costco's prow rising on pre-split granite and gaining ground. So check that out. While I'm on the subject of poems for friends, there's a poem I've dedicated to a good friend of mine who's also a poet who's here tonight. The poem's called Apology for Mark de Severio, but apology in the classical sense is defense, so rather than apologizing. You never danced into the traffic with an invisible partner, fudging stop-and-go rhythms like an adolescent Mick Jagger, swaggering through exhaust, urine, red wine, brick oven. You never commandeered that Jaguar XKE on Roncy Street. I can't admit your eye met any other, let alone the synchronous release of the stoplight as no quarter peaked. You can't but fancy our dirty airs conquered everything clean. Smog leaned against the sunset-laden skyscraper, dangling its golden jacket from its shoulder. I'm skeptical these miracles appeared, like milky clouds and iced pastis. Yet you coerced a cabbie to edge up, and he edged up and up until he nuzzled the bumper of a Carmine limo. Someone broke the bank machine at the press club, and we were offered free martinis. A demure editor pressed us for the tab, and you cajoled him down to a Virginia Slim. Maybe cursing fluttered out, but no one bribed the bouncer. No one chalked our phantoms on the sidewalk, judging from the snapshots. The jazz quartet at Cafe Napoli couldn't help it if their music rose those 3 floors to our balcony. But even if you disagree, your silent partner never missed a show.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dan.
It's called Low Fidelity. Katie doesn't know your voice, no more than the noise of those 2 flies we heard buzz their last words between the screen and window. Katie is assured there's a caesura between our lips. That ink slips off the page. Yellow glue melts down the spine of the Moleskine. There's no one on the phone Katie doesn't know. Katie doesn't know how the spider survives the winter. Katie didn't listen to my confession. Katie bought matches but didn't burn her diary. Katie knows ashes keep secrets fast as fly husks, but doesn't know the biting of the cobweb, no more than your voice, no more than a void. So the last one I'll read is called Sundowning. It's a villanelle. It's traditionally unhappy. It's for my mother. Who had a good day because someone just messaged me. My mother's in the hospital, as you'll know in the poem, but so it's sad. But a friend of mine who just had a newborn baby was in the hospital and ran into my mother and father. So it's a nice day to hear about that. Anyway, sundowning is somewhat of a medical term. I got a definition to start the poem. Which is a condition in which persons with cognitive impairment and elderly people tend to become confused or disoriented at the end of the day. At night, it's not a lie to say there never was a sun. So if she finds a chocolate, say it's Easter. And if she says it's 63, agree, we're in Verdun. Despite her wind-torn body, she'll start acting 21. You'll get to meet again if you're a stranger. At night, it's not a lie to say there never was a sun. When ocean water fills the beach, then we haven't got one. When fog makes land, there isn't any water. So if she says it's 63, agree, we're in Verdun. This sentence shapes each moment. Fun is fun. Semantics are wives' tales next to laughter. At night, it's not a lie to say there never was a sun. Her name is Debbie. Don't call her my mom. She's no one's mom, no longer married to my father. She thinks it's 1963. She thinks we're in Verdun. Going gentle into the good night is not an option. This proud world holds it's ethical to suffer. At night, it's not a lie to say there never was a sun. So if she says it's 63, just say we're in Verdun. Thank you all.
Wow.